We're scouting out the course of the United Airlines New York City half on March 18th. A lot of cool stuff to see. Keep going. Depending on how the race goes, this could be the speed, the actual speed that I'm going. First time back in Times Square since last year. I lost my sunglasses.
Well, I'm the naked cowboy hanging out with Noah.
Right. Useful information for after the race. First time subway experience. All right, guys, here we are on the Manhattan Bridge, wrapping up my day in New York City. Had a great time seeing everything it has to offer. Looking forward to being back for the United Airlines NYC half.
I'm here at the start right now. Noah Jordan, but first of all, Noah, last year, 7th place. I know you're hoping to do really well today. What are you expecting once you get out there?
Yeah, they always put together a really great field, so I think you just kind of stick your nose in it and let the chips fall. Always hope to improve on last year.
Here in New York City, a brand new course. Everybody's setting a PR today, right?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Are you looking forward to any particular parts of the race?
I mean, I love Central Park. I know that was part of the old course, but I'm also looking forward to kind of going on a tour of the neighborhood. So, yeah, just experimenting on the new course, being one of the first to run it. It's going to be cool.
Great to see you. Good luck today. We'll see you out there. Good luck.
Noah Droddy, one of our more colorful runners here this morning. He's getting set with the rest of the elite men to begin their start. Let's head down to the New Yorker Runners President of Events and Race Director, Peter Chacha.
Good morning, runners. Once again, welcome to the new United Airlines New York City half. It's a very special day for us here. You are going to introduce the world to this great new two-borough race. Over 22,500 runners strong. That means each of you will set a new course record today. A lot of hard work went into putting this on. We want to acknowledge all the folks that worked with us on this, so help me out. The mayor, Bill de Blasio, the city, and his great agencies. Our partners, TCS, New Balance, and United Airlines. And let me hear it for the great New York Roadrunner staff that have been out here for days setting this up for you. Thank you. We're going to get you started in about a minute. Good luck, runners. I'll see you at the finish line.
Thank you, Peter. Once again, runners.
So we talk about the elite men. Here's some of the ones to keep an eye on, Carrie, as we get set to get this race started.
Yeah, Wilson Chabet has the fastest PR in the field, but Chris Derrick, he was our top American last year. Great over cross-country courses. Really runs well on the road, so it'll be exciting to see him come back. Haran Lagat, Tashome Makonnen. I really like this guy. He's the youngest guy in the field, but he and his wife have a place here in New York. He splits his time between here and Ethiopia. The Dathan Ritzenheim, everybody knows his name from the U.S. 3-time Olympian. Stephen Sambu coming back, trying to win another race here. But Ben True, he's got his debut coming up here in the half marathon in New York City, and a lot of people from America have their eyes on him.
There's been some chatter that he might be a favorite in today's race, Ben True. We shall see. Stephen Sambu, of course, won this race back in 2016. What's in store this morning? We're about to find out. Here we go.
15 seconds off. Once again, you'll hear the command. It'll be on your mark, followed by the start horn. Do I have clearance on the roadway? Lead vehicle, are you ready? Runners, on your mark.
And off they go. Going to be real easy to see Noah Droddy today.
Yeah, Noah
with the
has,
hair, the sunglasses, and the hat.
he's got a great look. And he is a great guy. And, you know, had his breakout race here last year. He really ran well and has done super well the last year. And I think a lot of people didn't really know with his look even if he was taking things seriously. But he is a serious athlete. He wants to run fast, and he really loves the sport. It's
and
cool.
I think you brought up a key point, having fun on a day like today. I think sometimes that gets lost because of the competitive nature of this.
Yep.
But Noah Droddy likes to have a good time.
Hey, nobody said when you dare to be different there was anything wrong with that, and I love that about him. He's been taking us through the city all week over on Instagram, and it's been pretty cool to watch.
Yes, and it's helped bring some more attention to this race here this morning, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that. And you see the elite runners, and right behind them, the rest of the masses. And what a feeling that has to be for these runners that you get to start at the same time as the elite men.
Yeah, a lot of people bring that up. You know, they say you don't get to go and play football with the professional football players or the basketball team. You don't get to go and play basketball, shoot around, but you do get to run races. And it is pretty neat when you're out in Central Park seeing these athletes warm up and, you know, run their race or run their pre-race workouts the day before, and you can wave at them and maybe jog with them for a little bit. So it is a cool thing about our sport.
There's Steven Sambu taking a little bit of a different path than the rest of the crew.
Abdi Rockman here just set the Masters record for the TCS New York City Marathon in 2017. He's 41 now, so he's getting to be old, but he's there leading the pack like Noah Droddy, Steven Sambu on the far right. And now we're looking at our women.
And you have Betsy Sina leading the way in her NYC half debut.
Yeah, she hasn't run many halves. I think she's only run about 2. But she just recently broke the 110 barrier, which is kind of a big barrier for women to break in this race, in this distance. So yeah, she is now, you can see them climbing a little bit over the hill. They're using their arms a little bit, not really driving those knees because they're working hard coming up the bridge here.
And we talk about the women, they ran about a 5:40 mile right out of the gate, and that's not a great time, Carrie, when you talk about a marathon. Not bad, but maybe not as good as it could be.
4:30 mile, that's a pretty quick one. You know, and right now, speaking of miles, the women have gone through their second mile in a 5:54, which is very slow for them.
Very slow.
They're probably close to a minute off to what Molly was running last year. She ran right around 5:08, 5:10 pace. But they are on the hill, and they are climbing about a half mile up the hill, and then they're going to do a half mile down. So you see that. And we talked about the first 2 miles are going to be, they're net downhill, but they do have some, you know, ups and downs along the way.
And I guess that's kind of the exciting thing of having this new course is we're kind of experiencing this for the first time and really not having anything to compare it to when you talk about the recent history here of the NYC half.
Yeah, this is a whole new ball game. I mean, when you look at the race and you look at the course, it looks like it's pretty even because you do have the downhill and then it flats out and then you get to the hills in New York City where you're going to get slower again. But I think they think it's going to be pretty equal to the times that we've seen in the past.
And there's a beautiful look at the Manhattan Bridge on this Sunday morning. Pretty close to finish our thought on the Team for Kids and other youth programs that is so important to the New York Roadrunners. We might be seeing some of the future stars of tomorrow out here today.
Exactly, and we're looking at a star right here, Mamita Daska. She is ready to run. She's sick of this slow pace. They are right now, they ran 18:10 through 5K. They're on 1:16:41 pace, so that is very slow for these athletes. She actually was running probably faster when she was running the TCS New York City Marathon this last fall, so she's ready to kind of break this up, and you can see that she's pushing a little bit, not too hard, but enough to sort of break up that early pack.
When you talk about the slow pace, what are maybe some things that we can attribute that to here this morning?
You know, I think it's a new course, and I think people are thinking about that. They're probably thinking a little bit more than just racing, and you know, I'm not sure if they're looking around. There's a lot of marathoners in this race that are getting ready for a spring marathon, and we talked about marathon legs yesterday. Many people are coming into their final preparation for a spring marathon. So actually, this is playing really well for those athletes that don't want to be really fresh right now and really running super fast. These ladies probably are liking the slower pace, but Mamita is probably like, okay, it's time to race. I've come here to New York City. They've shut down the streets for me. Let's put on a show.
You have Steven Sambu here on the men's side, the 2016 NYC half winner, and right next to him, Parker Stinson. Now, here's a guy who led 22 miles at the U.S. Marathon Championship but then faded to finish 30th. Do you think that's perhaps in the back of his mind as he's up front here with Steven Sambu?
Yeah, he's had a big year. He got married this year. He went to the championships in December and pushed hard and really wanted that win, and then faded super bad the last little bit. And he's always one to make the pace honest. But you can see a lot of the American athletes right there on the left of the screen. You see Chris Derrick in the red. You see Dathan Ritzenhein right behind him in kind of the Hanson's jersey, which is the neon colors and the black. But Abdi Rahman, no matter what age, this man is not afraid to take over and race hard. He trains with Steven Sambu when he's in Phoenix, along with Bernard Lagat, who a lot of people know Bernard, or Kip as he likes to be called. So there's a lot of big names up front here trying to make this race honest, and they're on the bridge. They're having fun. They're loving this.
Yeah, Mama Tudaska leading the way from the women. That name might sound familiar. She finished on the podium 3 times last year in the Big. Maybe they're jealous you have your headset on today.
And maybe a nice warm coat.
And a nice warm coat. In a heated compound where we sit. So it's not too bad here. Yeah.
Yes.
Not too bad. As we take a look at the women's leaders, 28 minutes into their race. The men's leaders, some 10 minutes behind them. Vivian Chariot making her NYC half debut here today, and she was someone you said to keep an eye on today, Carrie.
I think that Vivian Chariot is someone that we will remember for a lifetime. I mean, she is such a phenomenal athlete. She has won so many world championships. She's won many medals at the Olympic Games. She's won 2:23 for the marathon. I mean, can you imagine that? 2:23. So this woman is just a star, and it's fun to see her running here in her very first U.S. race. And I'm just thrilled to see such a stellar athlete. But there are a lot of women in this field that are going to give her a run for her money today.
Yeah, Chariot won the 5,000 meters gold at the 5,000 meters at the Rio 2016 Olympics just days after taking the silver in the 10,000 meters. So clearly a very decorated runner, and she is leading the way here for the women thus far in the early going.
Betsy Saina, though, she does not like giving up that lead. We saw Daska in the lead when we last showed you a shot of the women's race, and now Saina is taking over again.
How much of a fine line is it trying to pace yourself, but also trying to maybe not give up that lead if you're Betsy Saina right now?
I think that Betsy's just a leader. She just likes to be in this front and in the hunt. I don't think that anyone behind her is necessarily in the wrong position. Emily Sisson has her all eyes on what's going on in front of her, and I like that. The thing that was different about last year with Emily is she had her training partner, Molly Huddle, here. Molly has won this race 3 years in a row, so this year we will have a new winner because Molly isn't racing here. Molly just came off of winning a USATF 15K national championship last year, but she set the American record in the half marathon in January. So super fast training partner that Emily Sisson has, and she's learned from the best. So lots of different strategies going on. But here we have a tweet, and it says, watching #United NYC half streaming on ESPN app. Holy cow! Split screen men and women. Way to go. They're loving that. So way to go in the production booth up front.
Yeah, equal airtime for everybody today.
Yeah. We love split screen, so we can see both races.
Yeah, we want to keep track of what's going on, and now you're taking a look at the rest of the masses making their way past the start line there in Brooklyn. They'll eventually make their way over the Manhattan Bridge and ultimately finish in Central Park as part of our new course this year. If you're just joining us here in the United Airlines NYC half on ABC7, a course that's been 5-6 years in the making and has finally come to fruition here in 2018, and that's all part of the excitement as we watch this new course unfold. New records to be held, as Peter Cha-Cha, the New York Roadrunners president and race director, talked about to all the runners as they were getting set to take the course. There's going to be course records set across the board because this is a new course. As we take a look back at the women, Vivian Chariot still there, Betsy Saina leading the pack on the women's side.
Des Linden, a lot of people in America know that name. But check out Parker Stinson on the right side. He is ready to roll. He says, I'm going to be taking this race in my own hands if people aren't going to want to race. So, yeah, we have a 5K split for you, 15:31 on the men's side, 65:32 pace for the men. They're going slow, too. So, interesting. I wonder if, them knowing they had to get through the hill, or the up and down of the Manhattan Bridge, if that was something that where people thought the race is going to start after that. I'm not sure what the race strategy is for these guys. I'm not sure why the pack isn't following Stinson's
Well,
lead.
how much of it, too, is kind of a feeling out process as you're going through a new course for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, there is that. But there also is, it's the fact that it's not a marathon today in New York City. It's a half marathon. So they don't have that long to mess around. But they're still early enough where there's going to be a lot of action here now, the second half of the race.
Parker Stinson, we talked about how he led for 22 miles and then wound up finishing 30th. But perhaps, as we said, that in the back of his mind as he's opened up a sizable lead here on the men's side.
You have Grove Dahl on the left of your screen on the women's side, and in the gray kit there, she is more of a middle distance runner, if you can say, 5,000, 10,000 meters, even a steeplechaser. But she is very good and been running really well the last couple years. So I'm not surprised to see her in the lead. She has a sub 110 half marathon PR, but this is what I like seeing right now. Normally, we don't see Des Linden in the lead. We see, I call her Steady Eddie. She is someone that runs very smart and very even. And for her to be in the lead right now, you're not seeing necessarily a really hot pace up front. She is someone that really runs smart. And for her to be pushing this pace, it's an interesting race right now.
Linden, the former Arizona State Sun Devil. She was a two-time NCAA All-American out there in Arizona. She just finished 4th in the Boston Marathon last year.
She had that amazing finish a few years ago in Boston where she was second by 2 seconds, and that really kind of blew her up. And now she's been running so well. She's been in Phoenix training back where she went to college, like you just mentioned, and having fun being back with people and training for the Boston Marathon here in 2018.
Dez's best finish here in the half was 7th just last year. So we'll see if she can improve on that. The women's leaders at the 34-minute mark. The men 11 minutes behind them, and perhaps a little bit of a slower pace here for a half marathon, as we've talked about, as the runners get used to a new course. And we still have masses still making their way past the start line. I mean, you're talking about more than 22,000 runners. It's going to take a lot of time for everybody to get across that start line.
It does take a lot of time, but what an exciting moment for them to be getting ready to tackle the streets. And, you know, around 2 hours. I mean, they get to sightsee for 2 hours in a whole different way. And it's one of the best ways to sightsee when you're out running.
You talk about you going through Times Square. That's closed down. How cool is that? You're going over the Manhattan Bridge.
Oh.
That's closed down. You get to see a beautiful view of the cityscape as you cross the bridge. Just some spectacular views here on a crystal clear but cool Sunday morning for the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon.
Yeah, new leader on the men's side there, Chris Thompson. He's from London, and he has been doing very well. He's got a 1:01 half marathon PR. He was 3rd in Doha, right in front of Abdi Rahman, actually. He just ran 63:03 in January, so he's in good shape. And he has raced some of these guys, so he can use that to his advantage as well, knowing how quickly they are racing and how quickly they're able to take the pace under their wings here. But Chris Derrick, it looks like Chris Thompson wanted him to move up a little bit. He's waving at people to help him out a little bit here. But Des Linden, it's been her race now the last mile, and she's really making it a race. I really like what I just did a podcast with her, actually, and I chatted with her, and I really like what she's done this year. She was running basically half marathons the last couple years. She stepped down in distance this fall. She ran the Dash to the Finish Line 5K this fall. She's been running some cross-country races. She wanted a different approach. She's not old, but she's getting older, and she just needed a new, fresher take on her legs, but also take on the sport. And I think that was something really smart that she is confident enough to do, Ryan. I mean, a lot of athletes just do what's working. And it was working for her to run great marathons, but she needed to switch things up a little bit. So different background this fall than she's had in the past.
Desiree Linden, 34 years old. Not old, but getting older.
But she's veteran.
She's a veteran. I think she'd probably prefer that we call her that.
Yeah, well, I'm
seasoned
older.
Vet.
I'm older, so I tell her, and I even told her that. I can say that because I'm older. But Emily Sisson is probably the youngest one in the field here, and actually has the youngest legs out there. So it'll be interesting to see how she takes on the second half.
Emily Sisson, 26 years old, last year's runner-up. Will she be at the top of the podium this year? One of the answers to the many questions we're awaiting here on the United Airlines New York City Half as we take a look at the Manhattan Bridge. Just a spectacular view on this Sunday morning as more than 22,000 runners will make their way across. Make sure to post your pictures, hashtag UnitedNYC Half. You might just see them right here on the broadcast. In conditions, Carrie.
They're pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit chilly, but I think you can see the athletes look fine, and they're having fun out there. There's smiles in the masses, so we're good.
Take a look at the elite men making their way through this course.
Yeah, Dathan Ritzenheim finally is saying, I'm going to get this race going. They're at 64-minute pace. And these guys, this again is marathon pace for most of these guys. So, you know, again, Steven Sambu on the far right. He's won this race before. He's podiumed 2 other times, finished 4th here last year. Just sort of amazing to see someone not taking over. But both the men and women are running slower today. So.
Let me ask you about Steven Sambu right here, because this is a couple times now where he's kind of gone away from the pack. What's the strategy behind that, where he kind of gets away from everyone and is kind of going on his own path there?
I think it's just early enough in the race where he's maybe not even thinking about tangents so much, and it's slow enough that he's just kind of running. You know, it's not really where it's a super fast, hot pace where he's right on someone's shoulder. He's just kind of working himself into it. But you can see Dathan Ritzenheim, such a resume, this guy. He is the only U.S. man to ever get a medal at the Half Marathon World Championships. He was a bronze medalist there. And just to be right at 1 hour, 1:00:00. I mean, he's just so close to breaking the hour mark, and not many men have done that. So what a great pedigree that he has.
Yeah, that was the second fastest run ever by an American male. We talk about the map, the new course, 13.1 miles, starting in Brooklyn as we show you how this is going to unfold here this morning. Starts in Brooklyn on Flatbush Avenue near the Grand Army Plaza entrance. Mile 3 across the East River from Brooklyn into Manhattan via the Manhattan Bridge, which is closed for the first time ever for a running event.
Yeah, and then you're going to go into mile 6 and 7 on the FDR Drive, all the way east to 42nd Street where you turn left, and then you're going to go to 7th Avenue, excuse me. You're going to take 7th Avenue north through Times Square. We're going to see all the youth runners and into Central Park where the hills will start. Believe me, once you get into Central Park, you're going to feel the ups and downs. But you know what? That last 1,000 meters is straight downhill, basically. So it's going to be a fun finish for everybody. But what a great course. They've done an amazing job, and I'm excited to see the times. I mean, right now it seems slow, but I think we're going to see some fast times there at the second half of the race.
And we've talked a lot about these times, and this is, for people that are just tuning in and perhaps not familiar with a half marathon, this is a bit unusual to see these slow of times on both the men's and women's side right now.
I think that's what you nailed it right there. Usually, you know, there's different race strategies throughout both men and women, but I think when you see both races like this slower, it's interesting, and I'm wondering what's happening out there. If they're feeling the wind, if it is the cold, or if it's just the race course right now. And you know what? It's a race. Sometimes you got to throw time out the window, and you just got to race, and that's what I like about it. It also makes for a fun finish. I mean, a lot of these people are thinking, I have hills to tackle. I want to save and preserve for Central Park. Dathan Ritzenheim was the one to say he's been here and raced, I think, 6 or 7 times, and he's had 3 different courses. He said this one, he's definitely going to save something for the hills in Central Park.
Yeah, we talked about half of this course. A lot harder than the first half, so that is perhaps something that's in the back of their minds here as they gear up for the second leg of this 13.1 mile course, making their way through Times Square. What a feeling that has to be.
Yeah.
Going through Times Square, closed down, you got the roads all to yourself.
So cool.
We should all be so lucky.
Yeah, the crowds are out there, and, you know, it's just pretty neat to see these athletes. But it's such a big pack right now. I was assuming when I came in here prepared to do this broadcast, I was thinking we'd have 2 or 3 or maybe 5 people at this point really pushing the pace. I'm pretty surprised to see this big of a pack. Emily Sissa now moving up to the front there with Betsy Sina. You know, this is halfway, so I think now they're starting to think, let's get going here. How many people are they letting in this race that are have middle distance backgrounds, that have a little bit more of a kick? How many people are they letting in the race that have those marathon legs that we've talked about? Now it's where they really need to start moving and thinking about everyone else and really running their own race and not running everyone else's race.
And to your point, you've got 11 women in this group. That's a pretty big group at this point of the race.
I think so, and I think now we're going to see it break up a little bit, but maybe not until we get to the park. Maybe that's everyone's strategy, is just wait, conserve, and get to the park.
Well, that's where we're hanging out. So they're excited to come see us when it's all
Exactly. It's
said.
a race to see us.
It's a race to see us.
that's
We're going to
what it
go with that. Emily Sisson, last year's runner-up to Molly Huddle. We had such a good time last year talking about that storyline.
Yes.
The two training partners pushing pushing each other, I should say, all the way to the finish line. Just a great race in last year's NYC half.
Emily Sisson is such a bright star. We talked about it last year, but she has the world lead right now for the 5,000 meters. She ran an indoor 5,000 just in February, and she ran it in 15:13. Now, last year she came in to this race running 15:01, but that was because she had Molly Huddle right in front of her.
Right.
This year she ran that 5,000 indoor prep for this race all alone. So it's just interesting to see her run so fast over 5,000 meters, now tackling the half marathon again.
Molly Huddle not running this year. Neither is last year's men's champion, Fiisa Lalisa. So we will have a new champion on both the
sides.
men and the women's side.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, they need that. They need a little bit of. It's fun to see new names come in and win and have a chance at that. But I really want to point out one woman that's in the middle of the pack. You see her with the black headband on and the blonde ponytail, Serena Burla. Serena Burla is back from her second bout of cancer.
Wow.
And she was here getting treatment this summer after running the World Championships. She is such a story, and we just want to give a shout out to her. I don't think she thought she'd be racing at this level already, and she's just run so well. She already ran Houston half marathon just a few weeks ago and did phenomenal there. But big shout out to her and all her doctors that are here in New York.
So many stories to tell. Ernst Van Dyke, he's always a big story at the NYC half. Just moments ago, back here in the United Airlines New York City half, Ryan Field, Olympian Kerry Tullefson here with you. We're taking a look at the elite men as they make their way through Times Square, Kerry.
Oh my gosh, they're running next to all these youth runners. How exciting is this? They're having them cheer, but you know what? More exciting for the youth athletes to be running and trying to keep up with the elite men as they go by them. This is so special. What NYRR does for all the youth. I mean, great for us, the elite athletes. That did I just say us? I'm not elite anymore.
You're elite in our minds, Kerry.
But you know what? Just so neat what they.
Of course, that name might sound familiar. She was just your winner in the 2017 TCS New York City Marathon. Now she's your winner of the United Airlines NYC half in Manuela. Joining us now at the finish, New York. Kerry Tullefson here with us, and you've got your eye on someone here, Kerry.
Hey, there's Allie Kiefer. She's such an inspiration to everyone. She was 5th at the TCS New York City Marathon, but unfortunately had to pull out of this race. She's been training in Kenya and has a stress fracture in her foot. So she has a slight little break in one of her metatarsals and is going to maybe pull together her track season. She said she has about 6 weeks in a boot, so she's a little bummed about this, but so fun to have her here.
Yeah, big smile on her face, cheering on the other runners. Great to see, even though she can't run today. Emily Sisson has run her way into the lead, last year's runner-up to Molly Huddle. And over on the men's side, Dathan Ritzenheim.
Yeah, Emily Sisson is starting to make her push. Bouger Dariba is the one that we kind of thought that was going to go. But this was pretty exciting here. Dathan Ritzenheim going by Vivian Chariot. I don't know what's happening there. She does not look good, and the men have now gobbled her up. So she is not having the best race that she wanted here for the first time in the U.S. But there we see Mamidou Daska. She is 3rd here, like we said, at the marathon, falling a little bit off of these front two women. But Emily Sisson making her push, and Bouger Dariba. Both of these ladies are the freshest in the field. They are not running a spring marathon like we said, and I'm not surprised to see these two pushing the pace at the end.
When you talk about marathon legs, what do you mean by that?
Oh, just heavy legs. I mean, they're training hard, 100, 120 miles a week, doing long runs. These ladies have been able to maybe think about this race a little bit more, prioritize this race a little bit more, and come down and not so much taper necessarily, but just rest a little bit more. They're not thinking about 20, 22, 23-mile runs.
If you're Emily Sisson, you finished 2nd last year to your training partner. How much does that kind of sit with you for a whole year and make you that much more eager to take the course here today?
It sits with her for a whole year. She's thinking about that. There were other races along the way. She ran the World Championships. She's done very well in other races, but she was ready to come back here, and this was a big race on her calendar.
That she was. We'll have both finishes, both the women's and men's, when we come back here on ABC 7 the morning. 13.1 miles from Brooklyn to Central Park. The women's leaders, the men's leaders, we're at an hour 4. Emily Sisson leading the way on the women's side. We have both finishes coming your way here very shortly. Emily Sisson eyeing that finish line, the runner-up last year to Molly Huddle. You know she would love nothing more than to finish where she started last year.
Bujay Dariba right behind her just ran 66 minutes and 50 seconds at Houston. Very fast time for a half marathon. She won 7 races last year. She's got a lot of talent. She trains here with Mamito Daska in Albuquerque. Both of them have had a lot of success. So here you can see the splits. 7th mile was 5:56, another slow one. 8th mile 5:21, dropped down to 5:10, back up to 5:24, and the last one was 5:20.
And it seems like it wasn't that long ago we were talking about how we had a pack of 11 women. And now it's spread out. We're down to the final 2.
Yeah, they were waiting for the park.
They were waiting for the park, like we said. That's the second half of this race, a lot more difficult than the first half, especially as they make their way through Central Park. And we talked about it a lot. Emily Sisson kept up with her training partner Molly Huddle all the way to the very end, and Molly eventually pulling away, beating Emily Sisson. A nice embrace for the training partners. They both ran one heck of a race. Molly Huddle not with us this year, but Emily Sisson is, and eyeing that finish line here this time around.
You know, the difference between these two athletes is not that much. Bujay Dariba has a 5K PR of 14:50, and Emily Sisson has run in 15:02. Very, very similar there. The only difference here is maybe the experience, and I think Dariba has a little bit more road experience than Sisson. Sisson is on fire right now, and she told everyone at NYRR that she is really fit, and she's been training super hard with Molly. There's Carla Bruning. She's the announcer at the finish line, and her tweet is, "Good luck to everybody. I'll be waiting at the finish." She's the announcer there, and she's a great runner herself, has a new baby, and just loves everything that she gets to do with NYRR. So hi, Carla.
You can follow along. Hashtag United NYC Half. Post your pictures. All kind of social media fun here this morning. Now, if you're Dariba, how soon before you're making your move to try to get past Sisson here at this point?
Sit. If I were her, you know, she has 1,000 meters downhill, like we said, when she gets to that last 1,000 meters, 800 meters. So if she can be patient here, she can let Emily Sisson do the work, and that is the work. They just passed mile 12 here, so they have, you know, just roughly 5 minutes of work left to do. And if you can be patient enough, if you have enough energy to just sit, that's the strategy I would use. Here on the men's side, Makonnen, who splits time here in New York City, his wife lives here and goes back to Ethiopia. He's now pushing the pace a little bit from Dathan. Ben True, a lot of people were wondering how he was going to do in his first real debut. He's super fast. He holds the American record on over 5,000 meters on the roads. He's just now dabbling into the longer distances, but a really strong athlete. So right there, and then I think it's Chris Thompson right behind them. Yeah, he looks like he's struggling the most out of the 3 of them, but he's had a very good race today.
All 3 of those, Ritzenhein, Thompson, True, all in their 30s. We talked about Makonnen, just 22 years old. The kid leading the way here.
Yeah, super young, but he's done very well. He's already run at, you know, many big-time races. So he is pushing here a little bit. They're making one of the climbs here in Central Park. He goes up and down. But check out his PR there, right at an hour as well, 1 hour, 27 seconds. He was 3rd here last year. Yes, top returner from last year. So just a really phenomenal athlete and one that knows the city streets very well.
How much of a disadvantage is True at as he's going through his first marathon here?
Well,
if any.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's just a really savvy guy. I mean, he won the Diamond League here over on Randall's Island, you know, not too many years ago, and he just really likes being a competitor. So I don't think he's at a disadvantage. He may be even an advantage when you haven't run this far, because you're just kind of in no man's land. You don't even know what's going on. You're just doing it.
Yeah, should be an exciting finish on the men's side. Here's the rest of the masses making their way through Times Square, and as we now check back in with the men, Dathan Ritzenhein, Tashome Makonnen, Ben True, 1, 2, 3, Chris Thompson right behind them.
Makonnen ran the 2016 World Half Marathon Championships where he placed 11th. So like I said, he has run at the top level, and even though he's only 22 years old, he's run with the best. But Ritzenhein has him beat there by getting 3rd there in the World Half Championships. I think in 2007, off the top of my 2009, excuse me. So, you know, both of them have raced that. Both have raced here in New York City many times. But Ben True really is the story today, pushing the pace. One thing I like about Ritzenhein is he is getting older in his racing career, but he's made a big change this year. He started to run under Kevin and Keith Hansen with the Hansens group out of Detroit. And, you know, I think what they're going to do with him is some great things. They're a little bit more of a conservative type coach approach. I think they run very hard, but his approach in the past has been super aggressive. And I think with Ritzenhein, this might be his secret to success, is being a little more conservative in his training so he can stay healthy. He's had many injuries, Ryan, and that's been a tough thing. Getting to the start line is the name of the game in our sport. Because once you get there, you know you're ready to roll.
Well, don't let the sunshine fool you. It is chilly out there. When Ernst Van Dyke crossed the finish line, it was 29 degrees. And Kerry Tollefson, that would make this the coldest NYC half on record.
We don't like to make it easy on anybody. Come on.
No, we
and you're
don't.
talking to a Minnesota girl. So, seriously.
And you're bundled up, we should point out, being a Minnesota girl.
Yeah. But, you know, even Ben True, he's a skier. He went to Dartmouth. He likes the outdoors. Ritzenhein's from the Midwest. Emily, she trains in Boston. Now she's in Phoenix doing a little bit of warm weather, but, you know, she knows the cold. So these guys can handle that.
Two really good races going on right now.
Yeah, Emily Sisson doesn't like to let that lead go. Even last year with Molly Huddle in her very first half marathon, she didn't like Molly to lead too much. So it'll be interesting now to see if she lets Bouger go in front at all and sit and wait for a final push like Molly did last year, or will she try and push here a little bit further out?
Now, it seems like the runners would like having a downhill finish.
Yeah, and they're on it right now. They are on that final finish. And yes, it feels good, but it is also hard to have that jarring on your body.
Emily Sisson, we just showed you last year, so close in a race with Molly Huddle. This one's shaping up to be yet another tight race.
When you see 400 meters to go, it's like one lap around the outdoor track. These athletes have come from the track. They know how hard they need to start running here. And they also have to work with the roadways. I mean, there are little bits of, there's dips, there's not so many potholes in Central Park, but look, you can see Emily's right on that one dip. So yeah, everything matters right now, but they're coming up to about 300 to go. They're not in full out sprint yet, but they're moving pretty fast.
We talked about when does Deriva make her move. Still not yet?
I don't know. I mean, Emily looks like she's just a smooth grind right now, but we're going to have to see. With 200 meters to go, that's really where distance runners get to. There we are, 200 meters. They get to their full sprint. So I think they're both moving pretty hard, but Bouger looks like she's trying to edge, and Emily is holding her. Oh, my goodness.
Here we come. Down to the finish line in Central Park. Sisson, Deriva. Who's it going to be? Deriva made her move.
She did. This is Deriva's race now, but Emily had such a great race. She's learned so much from Molly Huddle. But there it is, Bouger Deriva, your new United Airlines NYC half champion.
Congratulations to Bouger Deriva, and for Emily Sisson, another runner-up finish. Her second NYC half, same finish as last year.
They really put the hurt on that last little bit. But here we are, less than 400 meters to go, and the two Americans are battling it out. Dathan Ritzenhein, Ben True, both of them low 13-minute 5K runners, both very fast, great cross-country runners, great road racers. What a race between these two.
Ben True in his first marathon, you'd never know it.
You'd never know it. He has not run 13.1 miles. He has tried once before. He was signed up for 2 others, and he finally made his way to New York City. He's pulling away. Dathan Ritzenhein having a great race, getting ready for Boston Marathon, but it is Ben True's race today.
And you talked about having not run a marathon. Maybe he doesn't know any better, but he's just a savvy runner, and now we're seeing that savvy as he races towards the finish line.
He doesn't come to races unless he's ready, and there he goes, breaking the tape.
It's
right
True.
Over 102.
Ben True, your winner on the men's side of the 2018 United Airlines NYC half. New York Roadrunners president and race director Peter Cha-Cha there to greet the winners.
A lot of athletes are grabbing the side of the fence as they finish. I think a lot of times your stomach gets very disrupted when you are running that fast over the last 10K. And these athletes really worked their way in. We heard from Ernst Van Dijk that there was a headwind, and that is tough to run that whole way with the headwind. So even though they got into the park and they were a little sheltered there, then that's when the hills come on. And so it's not easy. Nothing about running is really ever easy, Ryan.
Well, these guys made it look easy today. Ben True, surprised that he's your winner today for a guy who's never done this before?
You know, I'm not surprised to see this caliber of a runner, but I want to tell you, coming in, I didn't have him as one of my favorites. He was my dark horse because he has not run this distance before. But
sure.
There is no reason why he shouldn't win this race. I mean, he is such a strength runner. He is so confident and proud, and not proud so much, confident in his training. And you know, I think he's just doing a great job that way. His wife is an Olympic triathlete. You know, they have such a positive household that it's just fun to see those two doing so well. So congratulations, Ben True.
And the smiles and the look on his face tells you all you need to know. Celebrating his win at the 2018 United Airlines NYC Half. But we promised you some good action today, and boy, did we ever have it. On the women's side, Dariba, all smiles as she crosses the finish line. And on the men's side, Ben True in his first ever marathon. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
When you think of the elite athletes, and we see them here, our winners with
Ben True, Buzet Dariba,
with Michael and Peter from New York Roadrunners, and the young athletes, youth athletes there. This is a big notch in on their resume. You know, for these guys to win a big race like this, it's huge, and it's fun for the New York Roadrunners to be able to showcase the streets of New York City and possibly bring them back for the full.
Lashar as the winners of our 4 elite races here this morning on the United Airlines NYC Half. On the women's side, let's take a look at the official results. As we said, Buzet Dariba, your champion. She holds up her well-deserved trophy. Emily Sisson for the 2nd year in a row. That close, 1 second off the finish.
So close, and what a great race between those two. Grove Dahl in 3rd, Daska in 4th, Serena Burla in 5th, coming back from her 2nd round of cancer. Awesome job, Serena. Mariachi.
Stop periodically and talk to Nina every mile or so. There's Ben True and Buzet Dariba, our men's and women's side winners. Anthony Johnson caught up with Ben True just a moment ago.
Yeah, we're standing here with Ben. Congratulations first and foremost. I understand this is your first race, so tell us about this course and tell us about the race.
Yeah, it was a great race. The new course is definitely spectacular. Today was a little cool and windy, so it made it a little challenging, made it for a little bit slower times. But yeah, this new course is great.
How were the winds out there? You had mentioned that a little bit earlier, saying it was pretty challenging, pretty difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it was a headwind basically 90% of the race, so definitely made it a little more challenging. So
this was your
longer than 13 miles for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So this was your first race, your first time ever doing a half marathon. Yep. Tell us about your preparations and what did you expect and anticipate, and did it work out that way?
No, I decided to try my hand at the half marathon. It was a lot of fun. Workout's been going really well, training's been going really well, so I decided to hop in, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot longer than my usual 5K, so.
Definitely. Yeah. Certainly you'll be back next year to defend your title. Let us see that beautiful plate right there. That is amazing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
First place finish, Ben. That was a fantastic race. Now, coming into Central Park, I mean, you start to get that uphill on the back end of Central Park, especially when you're on the north end of the park. How tough is that, especially at the end of the race?
Yeah, no, the hills coming at the end of the race, definitely when you're already tired, to hit the hills are hard. I luckily live in a place where it's very hilly, so all my training runs are all over the hills, so I think I was pretty well prepared for it, but I think kind of bit a lot of people.
So we'll see you back here next year.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much. That's Ben True, #1. Show your plate, show the medal. Congratulations to him, a fantastic job. Hey, Ryan Carey, back over to you guys. We got the winner right here.
Great job, Anthony. Ben, all smiles. You just made it seem so casual. Yeah, I just decided to go ahead and run one this year. And then he wins.
Yeah,
Ben
all
True,
smiles.
your winner. Nathan Ritzenhein, 3 seconds behind him to finish second.
Yeah, Chris Thompson having a solid race there, but McConan, you know, he looked like he was trying to really push when he got into the hills of Central Park, and maybe they you know, jumped on his back a little bit there the last little bit, but a strong race by him. Scott Fauble, who is more of a marathon runner coming down in distance, so great job. But yeah, fun to see Ben True tackling a half marathon.
Away across the start line in Brooklyn, there's the top 3 women. Bouze Dariba, your winner of this year's NYC half, and Anthony Johnson has caught up to Bouze at the finish line. Anthony.
Yeah, tough catching up to her, too, because, you know, these are real runners, so they run everywhere they go. They just got their awards, of course, after the race. Congratulations, Bouze. She's standing here with her translator, Sabrina. So just ask her, how was the race, how was the course, and how difficult, if at all?
እንዴት ነበረ? ሜዳውስ እንዴት ነው? አስቸጋሪስ ነበር ወይ?
ትንሽ ይቀዘቅዛል እንጂ አሪፍ ነው።
It was a little bit cold, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was cold, and it's a new course this year. So how challenging was that?
ከባድ ነው ወይ?
አሪፍ ነው። አሪፍ ነው። እኔ መጀመሪያ ነው አፈረጥኩት እዚህ አሪፍ ነው።
No, it's fantastic. It's my first time running here, but I found it to be great.
Well, congratulations to you. Good luck. We hope to see you again next year, and great job out there today. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, that was a great race. You ran a great race, and thank you for being out here. Back to you guys. Emily here, congratulations. You're a top American finisher. What a great race. Tell us about the challenges out there on the course today.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very different course than last year. Much more challenging, but it was very exciting, very fun. We went through all different parts of New York this time, and I loved finishing in Central Park. The hills were challenging, but I liked it.
Yeah, because we were just asking and talking about the fact that you had hills at the beginning and then hills at the end. So how challenging is that, and how do you think about running a course like this?
Yeah, no, it's very challenging, and I think no one had an advantage this year because no one had done it before. So that was another challenge in itself, is there was no one with experience of it. So we kind of went out pretty conservatively, and they weren't fast times, but it was a tough race, a very strong field this year, and it was really good overall, good performance.
And you held the lead pretty much all the way coming through Central Park.
Yeah, thanks. I tried to push it the last bit. I knew Bouze had a really good kick, so I was like, I'm just going to push it as hard as I can and see what I can do. But she outkicked me at the end, yeah.
Well, you did a fantastic job. We're so proud of you. Congratulations and good luck, and hope to see you back here next year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Great job there. We'll pass it back to you guys. Ryan and Carrie, back in the booth.
All right, Anthony, thanks. We know